Hello, and welcome to the 11 Steps to Sirius JoY audio lecture series. I'm your heartfelt host and the Sensei to Sirius JoY, Christopher Witecki. This is episode 10, titled Step 8, I Decide. In this lecture series, I'm teaching a methodology for manifestation. By manifestation, I mean seeing a conscious idea from conception to hard-cold reality. The law of attraction states, what you be is what will come. The 11 Steps to Sirius JoY outlines every state of your human being and allows you to unite your conscious light into quantum singular intentions. This is the true secret to manifestation. Now let's review the steps I've discussed so far. As I mentioned before, consciousness naturally leads to new consciousness. Each step naturally leads to the next. When you comprehend one state of awareness or populate the consciousness with an idea or vision, the next state will automatically open up. So going through the steps, step 0, once you protect something, give yourself time and space, then your heart, step 1, can open up, which is I love. Once you love something, you will move to step 2. You'll be able to feel it. Once you feel something, you'll move to step 3. You'll be able to believe it. Once you believe it, you move to step 4. You'll know where it belongs. Once you understand where it belongs, step 5, I think, will come into play and gather all the evidence. Once you have all the evidence, you'll move to step 6, where you're able to open up and receive. After you can open up to your possible future, you move on to step 7, where you receive what you sense from the Royal Oracle, and you connect to God Universe for your soul's intention and for your soul's approval or warnings. And once you have a clear sense of what the truth is, your conscious being is naturally led to step 8, I decide. Put simply, it's time to make a decision. As we've gone along through this journey, I have assigned a character to each of the steps, with the king or queen being our heart. Well, in this little game, in the Royal Court of Royal Personalities, step 8 is the Royal Director. The Royal Director is actually the boss on the job. It's technically the first speaker in your own inner House of Representatives. It's the part of you that actually lays down the law. In human consciousness, the Royal Director is the one that's the responsible voice of your personality. It's the person that is responsible for your decisions, responsible for all your leadership roles, responsible for your ability to organize. The Royal Director directs your life and your story almost like a school play. Every choice, every direction, every final decision that happens in the story or the play is made by the director. Every cast member that you cast, every scene that you play out, and every plot choice that you make is also done by the Royal Director. The Royal Director is the part of you that aims for the destination and also the part of you that feels responsible for getting there. If the justice of the peace is the part of you that makes the judgment, it's actually the director that determines whether or not you are sentenced or you are granted your freedom. The director is actually the one that holds the final judgment. Now, I call it the Royal Director because royalty means it's supposed to represent the business of the king or the queen, which is the heart. A good director represents the queen or king's interest. In astrology, the director is represented by the planet Saturn, and this is also the astrology sign of Capricorn. In Capricorn, Capricorn is known to rule business, to rule leadership, all planning and parenting. Capricorns tend to be the boss. They're the papa bear or the mama bear or the head leader, the honcho. And as we all know, there are good bosses and there are bad bosses. Sometimes thought to be cold in nature, Capricorns often have to make the cold decision, and they actually have to distance themselves way up on top of the mountain in order to make these cold decisions. Now, some Capricorns have the reputation of being ruthless. These are the Capricorns that ignore the 8 steps before step 8. These are the Capricorns that are not listening to their heart. When the Royal Director does not talk to the king or queen, in other words, when your inner director ignores your heart's interest, this is when the director becomes a dictator. People with control issues have an inner dictator instead of an inner director. Their dictator feels out of control on the inside, and so they become obsessed with controlling everything in the outer world or on the outside. The reason why they feel out of control is ironically because they are out of touch with their inner heart or their emotions, or they're not in touch with one of the 8 states of awareness that comes before them. The weird thing about the power of control is it allows you to cut off access from the rest of your soul to the part of yourself that controls yourself. So this is how people can literally get out of control, because their control side, step 8, decides to wall itself off from the rest of your soul and the rest of your soul's advice. Now, according to the law of attraction, we cannot control the life around us, but we can control what life it is that we attract. To control what you attract, you must control what it is you be on the inside of you, because what you be is what comes. Therefore, control issues always come from the inner world and the inner life, not the outer world. When you feel in control of your inner world, you will be in control of your outer world. Now, control is actually a function of decision making. When you make a decision, you actually make an incision in human consciousness. You literally cut apart a part of you that was united and choose one of the 2 parts. Because it is the same line of what is and also what isn't, any decision to go in one direction is also a decision to not go in another direction. Our step 0 inner executioner may be the one that does the killing, but it's the director that ordered the death to happen. Step 8, or decisions, often involve choosing between 2 paths that are before you, like a fork in the road. This means something has to be given up to make the right decision and for the right thing to happen. Some people stay stuck worried about what they will lose and not choosing what they actually desire. Some people never get past that fork in the road. But according to the architecture of incarnation and what I've learned from the 11 steps to Sirius JoY, something must always be sacrificed or passed by if something is to be achieved. You literally cannot have it all in every step. You can have it all in life, but just not all at once. To have it all, you must repeat the 11 steps over and over and over again for each thing you desire. But don't hold up one manifestation because it's not everything you desire in one. Manifestation, as it turns out, requires that you focus on one thing your heart wants at one time to achieve it. This is why focused people usually are successful people. Your consciousness really can only do one thing at once and manifest one thing at once, or only be consciousness of one manifestation at once. And the funny thing about manifestation is, usually in manifestation, we're trying to take one thing and make it into many things. And if you want to take one thing and make it into many things, you shouldn't try to make many things into many more things. The power of Step 8 forces human beings to focus, and by eliminating one of the choices, you end up focusing on the real choice that your heart desires. It's funny, ancient civilizations understood that sacrifice was necessary to manifest. Unfortunately, they believed that they had to sacrifice ahead of time to receive in many cases. Only the wise civilizations understood that sacrificing came at Step 8, after the harvest, after you have received at Step 6. We are not expected from God Universe to make any sacrifices until we have received first Step 6. So in other words, in ancient cultures, you are supposed to throw the girl in the volcano after God brings the rain. You're not supposed to throw the girl in the volcano to make it rain. It is the gratitude of what you have received that actually brings the more, not the sacrifice in order to receive. Sacrificing in order to receive is actually the work of evil, really, and a way of enslaving people to give away before they're ready to give away. We are not meant to share until we are abundant. We are not meant to be in any sort of tithing until we have already manifested our harvest. So Step 8 is the decision point, and it is the decision as to whether or not we're going to sacrifice or not sacrifice, and what we're going to sacrifice. And if our choice is based on the heart, It is no sacrifice to the heart, because the heart is letting go of what it doesn't want in favor of what it wants most. So decisions are quite powerful in our reality. Step 8 is very powerful. All the 11-step members of your inner royal court most often will abide by your decisions. The soul takes your decisions as the law of the royal lands. If you forgot that you made a decision a long time ago, that decision will still play out in your life story and your life's manifestations. When we manifest, reality conforms to all of our inner decisions and follows it like a playbook. So, for example, if you made a decision as a little girl that men were dangerous, you will 30 years later law of attract dangerous men. It will continue as you have decided as a young child. If you decided in your teenage years that life is nothing but a struggle, then you will manifest a life where life is indeed a struggle. And sometimes we're not even aware of where we made these decisions, and this is why awareness is key to being in control of your future. So decisions are the programming that direct our life when we're not thinking about it. The sum of all your decisions equals your soul's inner constitution, the law of your royal land. The framework of your decision equals the structure of what you will manifest in life. Each decision creates a turning point or a corner of your creation. Decisions determine the edge of where things go and don't go. Each edge leads to another decision, and so on. Soon you have the framework of a system or an organization. And as you probably know, one bad decision can bring the whole building down. This is why people fear reversing a poor prior decision. They fear if being wrong with one decision, it'll result in people thinking the whole building is corrupt. The opposite's actually true in my experience. When people see a bad decision reversed and made better, it actually builds faith in the followers and builds faith in the organization. But this is all part of the lessons of being a young Capricorn compared to a wise Capricorn. You learn based on the integrity of your decisions and them literally holding up. Now, in classic astrology, Step 8 also rules what we call the 10th house, commonly known as the house of career and legacy. A person's career is really the sum of all their professional decisions in life. People who are not good at making decisions often have a hard time directing their own career. People who are not good at making decisions usually law of attract people who are controlling, who try to make the decisions for them. Parenting children requires making good decisions because, as a parent, you actually control the child's decisions. They're step 8 for them. Therefore, you control the structure of their growth and their outcome. Now, some people have a hard time enforcing their decisions. They make a decision, but they can't follow through with it. That's actually a problem or malfunction of step 9, taking action, and we'll talk about that in the next episode. What's important in this episode is understanding of coming to a decision and the quality of what coming to a decision will bring in your life. So you might ask, what, pray tell, goes into a good decision? How does one know a good decision from a bad decision? The answer is actually quite simple. You must be aware of the 8 steps that come before step 8. What I always recommend is that the Royal Director conduct a spiritual audit of what you're deciding. And this, of course, has to happen before the decision time has come. Let's say, for example, that you're trying to decide if you should purchase a brand new blue car. And let's say it's a luxury car, so it's a big decision. You don't even need it, but you're trying to decide, should you buy this or not? First of all, I have to kind of disclaim, when you make a commitment like that, it's technically step 26, which adds to an 8, not just a simple 8 decision, but I will walk you through the steps on how to make this decision anyways. It is at step 8, no matter what you're manifesting or what you're trying to decide, it is at step 8 at which you decide if you should go forward. So before you make that decision to go forward, follow each of the steps in the 11 steps to Sirius JoY. First of all, step 0, I protect. Does this decision threaten your safety? Will anything be threatened in your life by making this purchase? Will anything be vulnerable as a result of making this decision? Step 1, I love. Do you absolutely love this car? Do you absolutely love the direction that this decision will take you? Step 2, I feel. How do you feel about this car? How do you feel about the decision? How do you feel about it if you made the other decision? Step 3, I believe. Do you believe in this car? Do you believe in this purchase? Do you believe in this manufacturer? Do you believe you can keep up with the car payments? Is it within the character of the story you're trying to write? Step 4, do you belong? Does this car belong in your life? Does it look way out of place with the rest of your story? Does your family belong in this car, or other people who are important to your heart? Step 5, I think. Does it have all the details that you wanted? Does it have all the ideas you want included in a car? Do you feel connected to the car? Step 6, I receive. Can you receive all the special attention you will get when you get the car? Can you receive the maintenance costs that come with the car? Can you open up and drive this car like a champ? Step 7, I sense. Do you sense any trouble with buying this car? Does your inner oracle sense there's a better car out there for you? Do you sense that this car is appropriate for you? Do you sense any warnings? After answering those questions, Sensei says you will be ready to decide. You will be ready to commit. And likely, you were considering 2 options, so now you know the option and the path you should take. As long as the king or queen is on board with this decision, you should now proceed to step 9. I act, I am. All right, my friend, this concludes our latest episode to the 11 Steps to Sirius JoY. I can say at the end of this that I decide I'm grateful that you've listened, and I will see you tomorrow or the next day for your next episode, Step 9. Until then, remember I love you, and live, love, be.